Call the meeting to order and have a roll call.
Sure. So we have Salgado,
You're muted.
Osa,
Present.
and Lazarus.
Here.
All right, 3 present, none absent.
I've got a quorum.
Here now.
And welcome to our new member. I presume Daisy made it? Or
Yep.
no, Caitlin.
Or Caitlin, yeah, it does it.
Caitlin. Yeah, it should. Yeah. Always thrown by that.
Yep, Caitlin was approved by the village board on Monday, and Tom Hood actually asked for Caitlin to come to the meeting and get kind of a shout out for her work with the committee. So it was kind of last minute, so thank you for coming, Caitlin.
And congratulations.
Hmm.
Yes,
You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect. I was concerned you guys couldn't hear me.
Okay. Next order of business is public comment. Have we got a public? No public? We can get back to that if someone shows up who wants to speak later. New business, we've got 2 sets of.
Did we approve the
meeting-
old minutes first or something?
Yep. That's what's on the
Oh,
new
okay.
business is approval.
Got it.
So, and we got 2 sets. So, Shelley and Caitlin, did you get a chance to look at the minutes?
I looked at the minutes and they seemed fine to me.
Okay. We'll go ahead and approve them one at a time. First, the April 14th minutes. Someone want to move that we approve those?
I move to approve them.
Can we have a second?
My second.
Excellent. All in favor? Yay. Okay. The April 14th minutes are approved. Next up, the May 12th meeting minutes. Can I have a motion to approve those?
I move to approve.
And I second.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so both sets of meeting minutes have been approved. Do I need to do anything else there, Jack?
No, that's it for it. And I apologize for the delay on that. I just had opportunity today to get to them, so I got everything today, and hopefully I'm trying to take better minutes during the meeting too, so I can kind of multitask and have something in hand. It's tough to recall what went, what happened a month prior. So.
Okay, well, the next order of business, the environmental sustainability survey. I must say, I'm most impressed by the amount of activity already. That's really surprised me. I know personally I've been surveyed up, and it's really hard to get motivated. So how many do we have altogether so far?
Yeah, we're about 226, it looks like, as of this morning, and it's
Yeah.
going up still.
Yeah. So what were the where could people go to find that link other than the village website? Was there someplace else?
Yeah, we've shared so far, it's been our website, social media, Facebook and Nextdoor, and then also our weekly newsletter. And then coming up, starting next Monday, our physical newsletter that goes out to all residents, Keeping Posted is getting mailed out, and it also has a link in it. So we're keeping it open through June 30th, so the end of the month. And then at our next meeting, we'll have final results. So this is a little preliminary, but I figured a chance to kind of look through and see what we have so far.
Yeah, pretty cool. And just browsing through it, I think some insights there. The fact that it's self-selective, leads to possible, things getting skewed a bit, but still, I think really good. So, oh, excellent. I was going to ask Jack if you
What do you
could
mean
just,
by self-selected?
um, rather than random,
Oh,
you go down the block and pick every fifth person and um, survey them. It's you put it out, and obviously the people who either really are engaged with environmental issues or the ones who don't want tax money spent on this junk, they're the ones that tend to respond. The people in the middle generally are less likely to. Not that they won't, it's just the tendency is that the people with strong opinions are the ones you tend to get.
is it possible for a person to respond more than one time, or is it like per web address, or however it works, per IP address? Or could someone who was very ETO do it like 5 times or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, it is IP protected. So you can only do it from one IP address, but that doesn't stop somebody if they really wanted to take it. They could, fill it out using like a VPN, or if they had multiple devices, fill it out multiple times.
Okay.
So
Go to the library. So if you're really looking to boost the foam recycling results, Shelley. But yeah, Jack, can you just take us for? I don't want to spend too much time since it is preliminary, but I know my little browse through was most interesting.
yeah, I'll walk you guys through just a little bit, and exactly as has been brought up too. So the good thing is accessibility and how we have this out. We're going to get a lot of results. The trick is to keep that context in mind, is that, it's not a random sample. It's not perfect representation of the village, people who wish to take the survey. But it's still some good information that we can use. So most of it, as we would guess, are residents. Interesting to me is that how long most residents have lived here, more than 16 years. So it's, people who've been here for a while. Also interesting, mostly east of I-94 than west. Population, the town split 50-50. So you'd almost expect it to be 50-50, but it's a little bit skewing towards east, but obviously only off by 10. Some of the things too, most renter or most own, that's pretty much standard of the village community as a whole. Most people are driving. It's interesting as we talk about the walkability that, I'd be almost surprised to find somebody who walks as their primary form of transportation in Gurnee, just based on how we're built. But most people also too, walking is still a very key thing that they use. They bike. They're still taking the train, using kind of ride sharing, and bus is very rarely used. So then we asked just about the various different levels of aspects of sustainability. And the easiest way to kind of look through this quickly is the heavier it skews towards kind of this orange bar being at the bottom, means that they're very concerned about that. If it's kind of middle, it means it's concerned. It's not extremely concerning. And if it's this green bar, the blue bar, are kind of the leaders, it means that they're not at all concerned. So we see air quality, as we would have guessed, is kind of is a high concern, top concern. Vehicle emissions, not so much. Same open burnings, pretty mixed. And then we talk about industrial air emissions, and I believe that's actually about 77% viewed that as most concerning to them. And that was where it did mention ethylene oxide. So it is mentioned throughout the survey as a key concern for residents. And then recycling, is kind of mixed, but skews towards important. And then some of the other, just got cut off, plastic, recycling, just kind of showing the different sections. And then water quality also being a very important subject for a lot of residents. And drinking water supply quality, again, that makes sense. A lot of people would be concerned. So just kind of going through the different sections, you can kind of see what kind of triggers is important. And then at the end, we did
one of the things that surprised me was that stormwater wasn't as, it was preliminary and everything, but it really didn't show a big surge there. I wonder if we had put stormwater / flooding, that one word probably would have made a big change, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And this purple is other or NA, I believe. So a lot of kind of at some point people, I think they went through for air quality emissions would be my guess, or some other hot topic, and then moved on from a lot of the other ones. And then looking to it, so there's kind of the breakdown, just another way to look at it, metrics. And then the other and open responses. So this is where they're able to kind of put a little bit more open response. A lot of interesting stuff here. I mean, there's stuff, again, we knew going into it, ethylene oxide would be a key issue. It has been shared by Staff ETO and a few of the other groups locally. And so we knew that that would be something that was important to residents. But seeing it's a lot of these other ones too that pop in here is interesting as well. So I encourage people, I'm not going to go through all of it, obviously, but just looking through some of these other items that people did find interesting, to residents. So trains, pesticide use, emissions from both, a variety of sources, including, industrial, odor concerns, and then, again, kind of a wide range of stuff. And then we look at too is how important our environmental sustainability community to you. And it is essentially pretty important to most important for residents. So it is something that they do take into consideration when looking at their civic needs. So, and then the second part of the survey, this is where it gets into non-residents who work or associate with the village. I'm not going to go through it fully again because it's similar. As almost we'd expect, most residents would then work west of I-94, and then kind of a breakdown of how they shop or they visit or they work in Gurnee, they go to school in Gurnee, kind of a pretty wide range of stuff. And then some just kind of mentioned what their connection was to, which was helpful. Similar kind of response for transportations, similar use of mix. And then we start to talk about the key issues, also similar breakdown. I would say a little bit more skewed towards less concern for a lot of things would be the only other trend I noticed is they weren't as directly concerned about most of the topics, and some they said not concerned at all, which was never a leading category in the resident sections. So again, the key driver of being industrial emissions, specifically mentioned ethylene oxide, was one of the key issues for the survey respondents. So as we kind of I'll scroll through, I'm going quick, obviously, and we'll go through this more in depth too at our next meeting. The breakdown of the matrix, and then just some kind of specific comments and questions. And then also too, similar is kind of a weight of what's important to them. And then we also got some good information for further interest for people that are looking, I won't go through that publicly, but people who are looking for more information from us. So from this, we'll take it and kind of share some of our survey results. I'll try to share with anyone who gave an email, and then also share future developments from the committee.
Okay. Well, thanks, Jack. One thing, and of course, it's after the things published or out there that you remember it. Did we think about adding a question about greenhouse gas or global climate change? One of the write-in question or answers did mention it, and it's like, oh, how could we have forgotten that? Or I mean, it tends not to be a local issue. Well, I mean, it's a global issue, obviously, but that's one we might have missed.
Thought it was all encompassed in all these subcategories.
And it could be, I mean, it's kind of air quality. Yeah. Want to welcome Diane. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You haven't, I didn't see when you joined, but you haven't missed much, I'm sure. Just preliminary results of the sustainability survey.
And that was interesting. Can I interject for a second? When I took the survey, mine did not go all the way through the 16 questions. It dropped out. Was that programmed to do so?
Yes. So it was based,
Okay.
There's two, it depended on if you're a resident or non-resident. So if you responded as a resident, you only got the resident questions. And if you responded as a non-resident, you got the non-resident questions.
Okay, fine. I just saw that there were 16 possible, and I think mine stopped at 7 or 8. And then, thank you very much. That was it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it was a little confusing if you responded as a non-resident because it jumped you to question like 9 or so right away. So
Mhm.
a weakness of the survey style.
That's okay. Thanks.
Okay. So looking forward to going through the complete results at our next meeting. That should be most enlightening. Any initial thoughts though about the responses so far?
Like
Shelley?
I thought that air quality would be one of the most pressing problems. So like that was
I'm
reflected in the results.
You thought that would be?
Yeah.
Okay. I frankly was going to put my wager down on traffic, but maybe that's just because I'm taking the wrong roads.
Skewed in the summer a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds
How would traffic
good.
be a environmental concern? Would it just be like
A lot of ways, traffic congestion
Mhm.
tends to lead to air pollution, much higher emissions, and so they're somewhat related. That's one of the reasons that roundabouts have been touted, is that without having that start and stop cycle on a gas engine, the engines run at a more steady standpoint, and emissions are lower. But I think most people don't like traffic congestion because it's irritating and eats up time and those things. Okay. I see we have a Greenest region update. Were you going to provide that, Jack?
Yes, so I threw this on here too, just so it's not much. Right now, I think we're kind of in the hold stage until we get the survey done, kind of work towards the next plan. But I did want to update kind of an invite that because of our participation as a Greenest region, we got invited by Edith and the group at the Metro Mayor's Caucus to be part of a task force for SolSmart solar designation. So what they essentially will do, it'll start most likely this fall, is they'll get us involved in kind of a work group. And what we do is we look at our code. So we look through the village's solar code. We did develop our code pretty much based on the SolSmart designation. And just to kind of clarify what that is, it's a nationally recognized designation stating that your codes make it easy, make it clear, and make it consistent throughout the United States to get solar panels. So it kind of removes a lot of the barriers of access. A lot of times, with solar, it was really frowned upon by, from kind of the building community perspective, just because you're adding a structure to the roof. There's a lot of, other concerns that it wasn't originally like. But so what they've done is they've really kind of centralized and made it streamlined for the code. So what we'll do is we'll take part in the task force. We do have to look at our code. We pledge to do a few other things, and then we would then get the SolSmart designation. Grays Lake just received it, and so did Lake County. So hopefully then we'd also be looking at it too for this fall as just kind of another development.
Okay, so another environmental feather for our cap.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Recycling. Oh, any other questions or discussion on the SolSmart? Ready to put up your solar panels? Okay. Recycling in general, I don't know if you saw the little news clippings I sent out, but I think once again, the market for some recyclables at least is increasing again, and that's good because like our Swelco visitor a couple months back, or 3 months now maybe, recycling is all about economics. If it's cheaper to buy and use virgin materials, that's what's going to happen. no matter how much recycling gets done, if there's not a market for the recycled material, it's probably going to wind up in landfill unless there's very stringent legal prohibitions. So, so that's good to see that the markets are picking up. I don't pretend to have any idea what drives those sorts of things. I presume it's people inventing new ways to use recycled materials. But in any case, it's certainly a good thing that's happening. Any other items about recycling? Jack, you put it on the agenda?
Is this a good styrofoam time? Is
Sure,
this the-
yeah.
I
When
just,
isn't a good styrofoam?
I don't know. I just wanted to put in that I contacted Representative Joyce Mason's office about the extended product liability, attacking it from that point of view. And she was in Springfield, but I talked to her assistants, and I now think she's back from Springfield. So maybe by next meeting, I might have, if she's somewhat interested in perhaps pursuing that at the state level.
Okay, well, that's good. Thank you. And thanks for reaching out to
Well, I
state
don't know.
legislatures.
And I don't, as far as Highland Park and their program, Jack, were they like, even if we did it once a year in Lake County or the village of Gurnee, to bring, and I can't imagine it being too much of a mass quantity, if we did once a year, had a resident drop off of styrofoam that we could take to Highland Park to process? Is that a doable thing?
Yeah, it's possible. It definitely is something that we could look at and see. You know, if it was a limited basis, just because it would be the public works staff time to drive down to public works.
Well, you know, we can rent a truck and I can drive it. I mean, I guess there's liability involved and all that kind of stuff, but if we had a once a year drive manned by volunteers, and the volunteers get it down to Highland Park, that way there's no burden on the village other than providing a place for the collection.
Yeah, and to kind of provide more info on it too for our end. So this is still one that's on the radar of both Waste Management and SWACO for it. So they know that we have a desire to try to do something. So the problem is this is where it's going to move very slowly, but it is on the radar. So essentially they know that we're looking to do something. We have kind of the worm in darts here that if they would be willing to lend a trailer, even if it's a one-off event, that it would be something we'd look at. So the doing a one-off event and then transporting it to Highland Park, again, is possible, but there's just a lot of logistics where, you know, it gets kind of a question of return, you know, that if it's a return on investment, essentially of staff time to haul it down, if it's enough volume, if it's the right amount of volume, not too much volume, you know, if we get a dumpster load, it'll be really hard to move a dumpster of styrofoam just based on the weight of it. You know, you have to strap it down, you have to keep it in a way that's not going to blow all over the road. So there's just a couple logistic concerns of it. You know, where we like currently we've done a few electronics recycling events. So like we'll do an electronics one, and that we're able to get a vendor in. So it's just kind of finding the right opportunity, but it is something that's out there still.
I just like to move it forward. I mean, what do you need to know or do that I could research or whatever to at least get some more information how we could set this, you know, get the ball rolling? Do we need, I mean, I don't want to reach out to Highland Park or whatever because.
Yeah, and we already have that. They're willing to take it. It's a question of how we get it to them.
Okay, it doesn't seem, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive. It doesn't seem like a big deal. You just put it in a truck and you take it there. I mean, I can't imagine, I don't know, maybe there are probably a lot of people as crazy as I am who have been collecting styrofoam through the pandemic. But I mean, even I guess it is bulky. But
And that's why one of the ways around that is to invest in a compactor, and then you can reduce the bulk.
well, it'd be a big, I looked at the price of them. They're not cheap unless you like got several villages involved and each taking a portion of the cost. But
I think we have the right.
Can I,
Sure, go ahead.
can I move on? Add on, I'm sorry, to what Shelley's comment is. I like the idea of the truck. What if we, and this is just, pie in the sky, what if, but what if we involved all of our neighborhoods, and we have our cluster neighborhoods with subdivisions and townhome areas. And if we were to have like one participant representative from each one have a car, and we move the styrofoam at an opportune time right after the holidays when they got all the stuff at home and want to get it out. So we would move out, if you will, the styrofoam before the guys have to pick up all of the Christmas trees from the curb. As a thought. So it could be like a car caravan, if you will, but if we coordinated a time going to Highland Park and so forth.
And part of it, and it's the part of the balance here is not only cost, but okay, let's look at the energy use and air emissions from that activity versus the waste from the recycled material. And that's why it's nice to accumulate in larger volumes, preferably compress it, because then it can be transported. You've got one truck, and that is a lot more effective. But I think we have the right organizations involved. Swelco, this is their bread and butter. How to get as much stuff out of the landfill stream as possible, and then waste management. Again, they get paid to find the best way to do it. So I think maybe sending Shelley to their offices maybe every Friday.
What is it?
I mean,
Shawshank Redemption? It's like writing a letter every week.
Or include styrofoam in the box.
Yeah. But seriously, I suspect Shelley's going to keep after this, and just sending them an email once a month. Just know that you guys are aware of this and wanted to see if there's any progress you have to report back to the Gurnee Sustainability Committee. That kind of keeps it on their radar, and at some point,
And it keeps me quiet. I like it.
Well, they're going to get tired of dealing with you and just do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Is there? Okay.
Just to add, I mean, there's definitely possibilities for these one-off events, but what I'm looking at is a longer-term solution that the industry takes on. So one example, and this again, it's not, you're going to hate the time frame of this, but the other one is, so our waste management contract, we signed a new contract 2019, I want to say. It goes through 2024, I think 2024, 25. With it, we can put in, and what we'll do is we'll work in certain things we want in the contract, kind of as a negotiation metric. And last time what we did is we did composting, we did a quarterly electronics event that Waste Management can host here for us. So we put in some things that we want. We could put in a once a quarter styrofoam and use that as a negotiation tactic. So then Waste Management, it's their responsibility then to work with the private industries. They would be the best one, in my opinion, to pay $150,000 for a compactor, take the styrofoam to their facility and do it. So those avenues, I think, are the real ones where we can do a lot of like long-term change and get something that's permanent. But that's where I will say, and I'm working kind of on both sides. I'm pushing with the committee I do also have, I mean, we have a lot of staffing concerns right now on behind the scenes with budgetary concerns. So we're down staff. So it's a little difficult just to say, you know, having Public Works do it. I can try and we'll look at some stuff, but
I'm not saying have your Public Works do it at all. I mean, other than a place, because I think that's, you know, a centralized place to bring the stuff. But I think, at least with my contacts, if we did it, I mean, not every week, but if we did a one-off event, like you're saying, I think we could have enough volunteers to do it, so it not to put any stress on the village.
yeah, and I'll check too. I mean, one lead that Peter's brought up is that Lake Zurich's kind of going down this exact same path right now, where they're trying to kind of do it. So how they are doing like a special container and that they are moving it. They're doing it kind of think on volunteer basis. So I'll be curious to see what they're doing. I think they're bringing it to Highland Park. I don't know how they're bringing it to Highland Park, but I do have a contact at Lake Zurich. I'll follow up with after the meeting.
Okay, so I will hold off writing it. I mean, I don't know who to contact there anyways, who I would, but I'd be glad to do whatever needs to get done.
I mean, I will say, I think the approach of working with Joyce Mason's office for, I mean, the legislation is also huge as well. You know, again, that's what's happening with the carpet bill right now, and Joyce is working with that. You know, it kind of got laughed at, I think, by the public when they saw that there was a potential tax on carpet. But the idea is that essentially the carpet is actually probably the worst contributor of pollution into landfills. You know, whenever you replace all your carpet, you're putting, you know, hundreds and hundreds of, or not like thousands of pounds worth of carpet into the landfill. And so the carpet industry is mainly based out of Atlanta. They have no consequences for it. They don't care. They just make money off the carpet. They don't care what happens to it afterwards. So that's kind of where Swalco's really pushing for, same with electronics too, that those who make it should be responsible for taking care of it and not put it up to the municipalities to kind of shoulder that burden of the items. And that's where Peter's point gets to with styrofoam is it does hurt to throw out, but from a volume perspective, even from a breakdown, it's, you know, there are worse,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that it's not worth abandoning. So I totally get it.
I do. Okay, move on.
Yeah, no, and that's part of, I'm definitely open. We'll keep it, and I'll keep it as an agenda item, kind of.
Okay.
But it's hit enough, all the easy options have been exhausted at this point. So it's now
Okay.
trying to figure out what you know, but again, if we wanted to do a one-off, I'm sure we could figure out some way to do at least like a one-off event. It's not something regular, but one singular event like around Christmas, I can guarantee we could do something.
Okay.
Okay. Other topics, we've got a meeting scheduled for July 14th. And someone can't make that, I believe.
So I oops, sorry, Rick, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I put that out there, so I cannot make the 14th. So I wanted to see what the group's preference is, and it's fine. I'm fine not being there. I would have to make a new host and new minutes. So we can keep the meeting, or we could find another day.
Let's find another day. You are an integral part of keeping us apprised of what's going on. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Agree.
fine with that.
So for me, the next week would work just fine. If the 21st would work for the committee.
Sounds good.
That would work for me.
Awesome. I'll put out notice, but yeah, I'll schedule it for that July 21st at 3:30.
Okay.
I'll be in an ACLU Summer Institute program.
Okay. Let me see if there's another one. Would the 7th work?
7th works for me.
Seven's fine with me. I have no life except styrofoam. Just kidding.
7 works for me.
All right, I'll put that out for the 7th. So that'll, yeah, July 7th, 3:30. That works
Yep,
for me too.
that works for me.
Rick, I have one thing to add before you close.
Yes.
Anecdotally, I was involved in a highway cleanup and used to all of the usual trash that you pick up. Amazed, however, at what we found this time. 4 hearing aids.
What?
Yes. See, that was the reaction. We
Huh.
went, what? Yeah.
That's
The over the ear hearing aids. Yeah,
uh-huh.
4 of them. And not in one place. They were interspersed down the highway, both sides of the highway. Is that bizarre? Bizarre.
Yes. My company, we 2 or 3 times a summer, we have a forest preserve area that we clean up, and I definitely got the prize for most interesting one. In the tree, I found a bikini top.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Cool.
and it's like, well, someone's going to want that, but
No bottom.
no. That you find some really strange stuff. Most of it is just plain disgusting that people treat the
Right.
highway like their trash can.
As another item too, I do have an update for Caitlin based off our last meeting. So I forgot to share this with the group. So the ComEd Trail, because that reminded me, ComEd Trail and trash cans. So this one also kind of went through a lot of, went around kind of, so basically we ended up talking with Public Works, looking at kind of the possibility. There's currently no trash cans along the ComEd right away. The village actually doesn't maintain a single trash can in the village. They're all either Park District or other private entities. So we did actually reach out to the Park District to figure out kind of who's their supplier of containers, what they do, how they frequent them. So actually I'll share in the chat, and I can send this to just, the bullet points didn't work really well. But I'll send everyone kind of a little bit about like the process. I guess it's just out of interest of kind of what they do, how they replace them, how they service them. They do need them kind of about twice a week to be serviced, just based on what's in it. If it's dog poop, it does start to smell. So, and also it gets, basically they have to be serviced once they're a fourth full, just because it's such a heavy product that if it gets full, that's gonna be a very heavy container. So kind of figuring out where they put them. So we're doing a little bit of the background, kind of the logistics, figuring it out. But our first step that we're actually gonna look at too is signage. Just looking at that, just because there's no manpower associated with signage, that we could put up signs, and potentially even dog bags as well. So we give the compostable bags for people, say, please take them, do not throw them. This is, our trail for everyone, just kind of a messaging aspect with the bags, hopefully to kind of help start it, and then see where we're at, kind of observe, and then see to what the, we were looking at locations as well, probably at Almond and the trail we were looking at. And also gets a little complicated too. Our lease agreement with ComEd is coming up next year, and they see the installation of the cans as an alteration, and we would need kind of written consent into the contract. So there's a few things like we're looking at with it, but we hadn't forgotten, and we are checking and trying to see what we can do long term.
Okay, and I've had on my to-do list for a while, I really want to get, is it PetSmart at Gurnee Mills? I want to get them to pay for the doggy compostable bag signs and bags. But every time I think about doing something on that, it's like, can I do it on behalf of the Village of Gurnee Sustainability Committee? Or should we get something from the village? Should the request come from the village, I guess? I mean, I can call and find out who to talk to, and then it'd probably be more appropriate for someone from the village, especially if there's a easement consideration. Yeah. But I'll do the legwork. I've every time I go past there, I think about popping in and talking to the manager.
Yeah, we can see once we have kind of the ideas of what we want, we could have, that would be a good one for Tom to reach out to, make that connection coming from the mayor, as we know, obviously has a little bit more clout. So could look in, because the signs are definitely that's easy for us. I mean, we make signs. We have a sign shop, so we make signs. So putting up signs and getting it out there, ComEd will be pretty open to signs in the right of way, so that's not a problem at all. So getting the signs made, just determining the language, where to put them, that's something we can definitely do. The trickier one then is the like the bags themselves and keeping it stocked. So if that's an opportunity for PetSmart, that makes a lot of sense.
Right, and they put their logo on the post,
Right.
and I mean that's got to be their chosen demographic target. Okay.
I'm thinking, if I'm thinking of the same trail, and I don't know, that there is something like pick up after your pet sign there already.
I'm talking about near the fire station near Jewel.
I'm sorry, you're very quiet.
Fire station near
Yeah.
Jewel
There's the
trail.
that trail that it goes for,
Past Almond.
yeah, I'll go because I walk my dog all the time, and I'll let me see what I'll take a picture
Yeah,
if it's accurate. Okay.
that
Is
would
that,
be helpful because we don't know fully what signage is out there.
Yeah.
So if there may be some signage too, but maybe that's an opportunity where we identify where they are. So if we can map where they are and kind of get an idea of what's out there.
Gotcha.
you know.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with the ComEd Trail. Where does it start or what? Where is it?
Yeah, so it extends basically parallel to data. So it starts at Hunt Club, and then it goes
Okay.
west all the way to, eventually we ended up extending a connection from it down Knowles Road, and then now it ties into the Roland Savannah Forest Preserve. So you can go from Hunt Club to the Forest Preserve all on trails. So it's the largest trail system that the village maintains.
Okay, thank you.
We are getting we are at the end of the agenda. Is there anything else folks want to discuss today?
I'll just say thank you. I guess I'm part of the committee. Thank you very much, Rick and company. Thank you.
Thank you for participating.
Oh, last question. We used to, our group used to belong to a Go Green. You would be part of a green community. Is that still out there nationally? Anybody know?
Yeah, are you referring to the green power, green energy?
No, this was before them. I think it was before them, but what our church had to do is get rid of all of the disposable plates and styrofoam and plastic and get rid of all of that. And we changed all the light bulbs. So we went to glass plates and, reusable, renewable. That all of that was included. Is that going? Because we got this big certificate from the group. I can double check the exact name on it. But it was something that was still active. Let's see. It was still active in 2010, 2012. I don't know anymore though. That might be something to get hooked into too, because that was a nationwide thing. I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
You said Go Green?
I'm thinking that was the title of it, but I can check out. I'll look at our certificates. Because we were technically a green church.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not certain. It wasn't a village program, so it must.
No, it was down in Deerfield. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a quick search. Nothing's jumping out at me, but
I'll
yeah, if
find
you
out.
could get more information, that'd be
I will.
appreciated.
Yeah, and
Got it.
Gray's Lake just did something similar too. That's kind of cool, where they do they have a pretty robust sustainability green committee that's been active for a while, and they now do a business awards. So they basically create criteria, and businesses can meet it and be designated a green business. And I know Dog and Suds just recently got it. and they did a big news announcement about that they follow kind of the green steps to be recognized as a green business. So I will say that would be an opportunity down the road for our committee too, kind of to recognize businesses doing the right thing. You know, because you'll see there are some businesses that take a really proactive approach. O'Toole's is one that most people wouldn't know, but they compost. I think they switched to all paper straws really early on. They try to not use styrofoam. So they do a lot of stuff like that already. So kind of recognizing the businesses that do it might be a good way to get compliance.
And that's really valuable, because a lot of times there's a little extra cost involved in going green, and a lot of these companies or businesses, they don't have that much of margin. So they really, it helps if they can see that they're generating some goodwill in the public, and that may translate into more business, and that helps offset those marginal costs.
I just read an article online about Walmart. They tested doing away with the plastic bags, and they're in another test market. They're going live with it July 1st in another market. So, I mean, that's huge. I don't know if it's going to work in all markets. People don't have access to purchase regular bags to bring with them every shopping day. But that's something on the horizon. I can't see Walmart doing it. But, you know, I hear
a lot.
No. Go ahead.
A lot of places weren't letting you use or bring in your reusable bags because of COVID and
Right.
potential contamination. That was kind of gotten out of that habit. Okay, well, unless there's something else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
So actually, so Dan, for the voting, we still only, it's such a small committee, but it's only gonna be Shelley and Caitlin basically have to move and vote on everything. So.
I move to adjourn.
I read the memo wrong. Okay. Okay.
No, totally okay. Totally misunderstanding. I just want to make sure everyone just for the.
So we need Caitlin to come off mute to second it, or.
I said I second. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, didn't hear you.
It's okay. I had to change computers. So my school computer is a little iffy on the technology.
Gotcha. Okay, well, thank you very so it's been moved and seconded. So all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
I think we're adjourned. Thank you. And talk to you July, what was that date?
7th.